The Language of Childhood Friends by C.J. Itzwinter on AO3. Chapter 6. Prove It. Their language ends up being more of use than just talking in lessons when they already know the content. It's well known that the two of them are massive nerds, even if Katsuki doesn't seem it at first, and study ahead of the lessons when they are given a brief for one of their hero training practical lessons. It's right as the bell is about to signal the end of the day when Aizawa enters Midnight's classroom to give them a briefing for their next morning. Tomorrow you are to go straight to ground beta, as the whole morning will be a practical lesson on talking strategies in front of an enemy. It will be done in pairs, which have already been selected. Aizawa cut off the excited whispers, trying to get the friends to pair with them before they even properly began. Your class in 1B will taking part. Although you will be working with a classmate, the idea is to learn from the other students. While you undoubtedly have experience, they haven't. They have had lessons. You haven't. As a result, your real-life experience are invaluable, but that doesn't mean you can't miss anything because of them. Aizawa moved towards the board and picked up a piece of chalk, as he could illustrate their future task while he spoke. Students like Mina and Dinky with ADHD did better with more than one source of information. You will have an earpiece connected to your partner, as well as a pair from 1B. 1B will go first, as heroes, and then you will have a turn. When you are villains, the aim is to separate. One of you will be lead to dead end, eventually, but you will get points for how long you last. Then, when all is apprehended, it's up to your partner to get information. Feel free and stop the heroes. When it's your turn, you will choose one of your opponents to capture and take to your base. In front of them, in the hearing range of the earpiece, you will discuss your plan. It is up to you to then carry out the plan to keep the first and the second villain without being sabotaged. The only rule for discussing your plan is that you cannot remove any earpiece that you have. Your partner, both you 1B, opposite, must hear your conversation. No severe injuries to your opponent or yourself. Aizawa spared Midoriya a glance, before noticing that Bakugou had also given the greenhead a pointed stare. That day before, Aizawa was getting pissed off. In all honesty, he rarely got truly angry. His job meant that he was nightly occurrence for him to see and hear a lot of really awful things that had required him to keep a logical head if he wanted to stick to his admirably wonky morals. But Vlad Keen was testing him. If he had to listen to another teacher talk about how 1B would be better than 1A if his kids hadn't. His students, that's better, hadn't lived through extremely traumatic experiences, he would not be liable for responsibilities for his actions. Temporary insanity was a plea for a reason. A reason Vlad was going to look to prove. Let's put it to the test. Aizawa snapped. Understandably, but still, the raven-haired teacher felt the eyes of the staff room fall on him, but it was too late to stop now. We normally teach the third years how to talk freely about plans without being foiled. Neither classes have any kind of lesson or experience in this. If 1B is truly naturally better, then this should show it. His eyes locked onto Vlad as he watched the man shift his chair, clearly not expecting Aizawa to throw down the gauntlet. Well, Come on, King. You always say that your class doesn't get the spotlight, so this is your chance, man. Honestly, God bless Aizawa's loud blonde. Of course, let's get this planned out then. Yes, let's. Aizawa hid a smile in his scarf. This would be fun. 1A as the villains was relatively uneventful. 1B was admittedly good and proved their worth as heroes. But Class 1A was, simply put, better at adapting. How many times had they been put into shit scenarios to have to work on the fly, wing every plan just to escape? In this scenario, they had their opponent's plan. Already, they were better off than the USJ and the summer camp. and knew how each other and the other of their classmates acted in a crisis, so didn't necessarily need to plan out their escape so much as work how their partner would plan out in the scenario. 1B was good, but 1A weren't worried about being better. The first 1A hero partner to figure out the purposeful loophole was Todoroki and Kaminari. They were both in the middle of UA's turn of being heroes, and after watching the matches before them, Kaminari had a light bubble moment. They captured their opponent, a girl named Kaminari, vaguely recognized as one of the one he lost at the sports festival, when he suddenly interrupted Todoroki trying to explain a vague plan, enough for the listeners to not understand but Denki to get what he was talking about. Hello, and welcome to Chili's. It was their standard greeting at this point. That or they just T-posed at each other in the common room. Either worked. Dude, we can just talk in another language. It's not against the rules. I should have translated the English in his head. He got hit with the same light bulb moment as his friend. They completed the rest of their plan with an honest, terrifying efficiency, considering they talked only in Vine quotes, memes, English, Russian, and French, to the confusion of their captor and her partner, who was easily caught when he was found staring in confusion at a wall, wondering, rightfully so, what the fuck just happened. To those not in Class 1A, it was fairly easy to see Todoroki as quiet, exotic boy, and whilst that was true, most of 1A had seen him and Denki have full conversations in Vine, and knew the two both owned 6-foot-long worms of string. Basically, the two were the ones who got close to the pure chaotic vibes that Midoriya and Bakugou radiated. It was Kaminari's light bulb moment that got Katsuki and Izuku to realize that they had the biggest advantage ever. Although, sharing a look with Aizawa, they had a sneaking suspicion that being paired together was perhaps not a coincidence as everyone else thought. Sharing a smirk, he knew this would be good. It wasn't. It was fucking amazing. Midoriya and Bakugou, with their opposites of Monoma and Kendo, were last. By silent agreement, Izuku and Katsuki had decided that speaking was not going to happen at any point, let alone when they were discussing their plans. Talking was out. Clicking was in. Copy is the bigger threat. Right, let's get him then, Kachan. I want to watch as he realizes he has no chance. Got you, Zu. Monoma cursed mentally when he realized he was being chased to the dead end. He had got Midoriya down on the turn to be the hero. He cursed verbally when the capture weapon went around his wrist without any contact from either team. Part of his and Kendo's plan relied on having one of their quirks, but it seems like they were very much careful in the distance they kept from him all the way to the dead end to the hero's base. Never mind, 1B was so much better and... What the fuck? You can't do that! Shut it, you copycat extra! You have to discuss your plan. This is against the rules. 1A is no better if they win through cheating, you know. Ha ha ha! I know your secret now. Oh, shut it. The copy quirk owner made an astonished noise at being told to shut up by the 1A's cinnamon roll. It's Morse code, you motherfucker. Izuku sighed and turned back to his partner. We need to get hands on that blue building we pass. She was last seen on the red one. That's not bad. Exactly. Once we get her there, if we can get her inside, her quirk is less useful as she limits her field of vision. If we get her hands to expand, it'll be easier to tape it on her. True, so whether she's inside or not, we need her to activate her quirk. If you use yours, she could activate hers to protect herself from the explosion, giving me the opportunity to tape her. As they walked out of the base, they heard confused talking from the other earpiece, and shared a smirk before settling their plan into motion. That was meant to be equal. Neither class had this kind of lesson. We both agreed this would be fair. Then what was that? Be more specific, King. Aizawa stared at his co-worker in the eyes while the other fumed. That they cheated. That was Morse code. It was not. It sounded like Morse code. It was coded. At Aizawa's huff of amusement, Vlad King narrowed his eyes. You knew! That's why you're so quick to give this practice a test. Aizawa was done with the other man's shit. He already had to walk away, but stopped his head to turn on the other man. Prove it. Back in the common rooms, Class 1A was trying to wrap their heads around the video of Midoriya and Bakugou, A, working seamlessly together, and B, having their own fucking language. What the fuck? It was a testament to the confusion when Ida didn't lecture Kirishima on the language. You guys know Morse code that well? That wasn't Morse code, Shouta said, staring at the two with his head tilted like a puppy, focused on a tennis ball from where he was squished onto an armchair with Dinky. I know bits of Morse code, hero and civilian, and that wasn't it, was it? I mean, it kinda is? Izuku tilted his head slightly as he thought how to explain without giving it away. It was their language, after all. Wiping slightly when the first amusement and horror, Kachan filled his own curls with a huff. It's a mix of all Japanese Morse code, and then it coded itself on top of that. That way we know that you all extras are gonna leave it. That just set them off even more. Dinky's hands flapping around as he talked until Shouta stuck his foot in the other's ribs when he nearly hit the stray mat. The two childhood friends shared a smile at the chaos they had caused, reveling in the fact that they were in the center of all the confusion. Bakugo, Midoriya, I must ask, were you two talking throughout all those lessons while you were tapping in? Because I must say that is very unhero-like behavior. And I thought you two, at least, were taking our education seriously. Izuku looked at Kachan before leaning forward slightly, catching 1A's attention once again, causing a lull of conversation as everyone waited for his answer. Prove it. I am running on fumes, and this chapter makes my brain go brrr. Okay, so I haven't slept all night, so I pulled an all-nighter on accident. And by on accident, I mean, I literally couldn't fall asleep. And I couldn't find my melatonin gummies. And I found them, but it was like 8 when I found them. And at that point, it's like, I can't fall asleep at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Like, what the hell? I can't do that. That's too late. And so I decided, I'm just gonna pull an all-nighter. I mean, I don't have any other choice. So I pulled an all-nighter. And now I'm sitting here recording. And let's just say, I got a lot of videos to record today. Also, love this chapter. Love the whole they were communicating and stuff. And the whole prove it. Love, love, love that. No, because like really, prove it. Like, prove it. But yeah, as always, my brain jumps. Make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content. And thank you so much for watching.